Hello folks, I'm State Representative Larry Liston here in Colorado Springs. It's my pleasure to speak to you about why I'm supporting Scott McInnis for the next governor of Colorado.
I'm Bill Sinclair, and I want to tell you why I want to support Scott McInnis.
I'm former State Senator Mary Ellen Epps, and I support Scott McInnis for governor of Colorado.
I'm here today to endorse a good friend of mine, Scott McInnis, to be our next governor in 2010.
It's time for a change in Colorado's top office. Leaders from around the state are standing up to support Scott McInnis as the next governor of the great state of Colorado. We're in the middle of the worst economic time since the Great Depression. Scott McInnis will get government out of the way of business and get people in Colorado back to work.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Scott McInnis is going to focus on finding jobs for the people of Colorado. He's going to focus on the economy of Colorado, and he's a fiscal conservative who will reduce government spending and make sure that our citizens have the best economy that we can have.
Scott can lead us once again to prosperity. And Scott knows, he has a conviction to know that greater taxes and regulation are not the solution to our problems, but rather empowering people, citizens, and allowing them to keep their own money and decide what's best for their families is the way to prosperity for all of Colorado.
Scott will keep government at the local level and keep taxpayer dollars in the communities they come from.
As a county commissioner, I've seen the gaming dollars that are supposed to go for impact be reduced. That's affecting our district attorney's office. That's affecting important public safety officials at both the city and the county level. We're also seeing a huge push to take over so many things and create bigger bureaucracies. Scott McInnis will not let that happen. He will not be creating bigger bureaucracies where there's less accountability.
A native of Glenwood Springs and a resident of Grand Junction, Scott McInnis's Colorado roots go back 4 generations. A businessman and a public servant, he has served his community, Colorado, and our country, beginning as a police officer and volunteer firefighter.
I believe Colorado's at a crossroad, and I believe for the right decision to be made, we need to have the right governor. And my choice is Scott McInnis. Scott McInnis has been in the trenches. He's worked the front lines of public safety, both on the police and the fire. He knows what it's like at that level, and I believe the decisions he'll make as our governor will be what's in the best interest of our citizens and our public safety community.
This election is about Colorado. It's about a man like Scott McInnis. We need Scott as governor of this state. I know with his background in law enforcement as a volunteer firefighter, he will be out to protect our children and out to protect our families. As a law enforcement officer, I wholeheartedly support Scott McInnis. He's the right man for the job now.
Scott entered elected office as a member of the Colorado House of Representatives, rising to the position of Majority Leader.
I've known Scott McInnis since 1987 when we served together in the Colorado House of Representatives. Now, I know that Scott is a very strong leader, and I like the fact that if you ask him a question on an issue, he'll give you a direct, honest answer and not waver on his principles just to get your vote.
Scott's service in the State House was marked by a wide range of practical accomplishments and a willingness to work across the political aisle to achieve the best results for Colorado, earning the respect of his fellow state legislators.
I know him as a person of integrity and honesty. He has had a tremendous record of service to our state and our country. And I support him largely because of the man he is and because I know what the future will hold under his leadership.
Scott went on to serve 6 terms in the United States Congress and continued to deliver results for the state, including the creation of 2 national parks.
Scott McInnis understands that Colorado can support both conservation and recreation, that the two are not mutually exclusive. We need to preserve and conserve all that is great about this state, and Scott understands that. And he also understands that recreation is critical to this state, and tourism dollars are absolutely huge for this state of Colorado.
While in elected office, Scott McInnis focused on natural resources, public lands, energy, agriculture, tax, and business matters. He defended forest management and water issues.
And I'm standing here today in front of water pipe because it's important that Colorado continue to move forward on common sense water projects. And Scott McInnis understands that. One major reason I'm supporting Scott McInnis is because Scott has the experience in regards to working with our natural resources in the state of Colorado. Another really important resource for Colorado is our oil and gas. Our largest industry in the state of Colorado is oil and gas, and it's under attack by Governor Ritter. Scott McInnis has the experience from sitting in the Colorado House of Representatives and in Congress to understand what common sense oil and gas production is. And right now, that's what we need in Colorado.
Scott worked to permanently repeal the federal death tax, to reduce marginal income tax rates, and strengthen Social Security and Medicare for future generations.
Scott knows it's not about him. It's not about any one person. He knows it's about the senior citizen who's paying twice as much in property taxes as they did last year. He also knows it's about the oil and gas worker who's lost his job due to more restrictive regulations. And he knows it's about the citizens paying greater fees for vehicle registration in Colorado.
Scott's efforts to curb wasteful Washington spending and reduce the tax burden on Colorado's working families earned him awards and praise from numerous taxpayer advocacy and anti-deficit groups.
As governor, Scott will not need to have on-the-job training. He will bring practical experience that he has accumulated as a mature adult, knowing and understanding things that affect Colorado. I'm supporting Scott because as a fourth-generation Coloradoan, Scott understands the role of agriculture here in Colorado and our tourism industry. He also understands the role of the oil and gas industry and how important it is for the economic vitality for the state of Colorado.
Scott is a strong supporter of the military, understanding its importance to Colorado's economy and how crucial it is to keep the military strong.
Scott will win this election because of the fact is that he has Colorado at his heart. Here in El Paso County, which is heavily military, we depend on the military to do a lot of things for us. We really, being a veteran myself, we want to make sure that the military stays here. They contribute a lot to this community. So Scott knows that.
Scott understands the challenges we face as a state and yet sees the opportunity that's possible with the right leadership.
In Colorado, we need a governor who is more than just the governor of Denver. We need a governor who represents the whole state, who has been and understands El Paso County, who understands the importance of our military bases, who understands the importance of providing training for the men and women who serve in our military before they go to Iraq and Afghanistan so that they can come home afterwards. And we need a governor who's going to put Colorado first. And that's why we need Scott McInnis as the governor of Colorado.
Scott has reached out to constituents all over the state of Colorado, and those who have personally met Scott are thrilled to be able to support him to be our next governor.
Scott McInnis has both the personal interest in his constituents, regardless of the district or the area of Colorado they're in. He is very aware of the importance of the veterans to the service of our country. He has the legislative experience to be the governor of the state of Colorado.
This election is about Colorado. It's about you. Join others across the state ready for a change in the governor's office.
I'm Sandra Damron. I'm the El Paso County Treasurer, and I support Scott McInnis for governor.
I'm State Representative Bob Gardner, and I'm pleased to endorse Scott McInnis to be our next governor for Colorado.
I'm honored to endorse Scott McInnis in this race for governor because I know Scott's the right guy for the job in Colorado.
My name is Marcia Looper. I'm in the Colorado House of Representatives, and I support Scott McInnis as our next governor for the state of Colorado.
My name is Wayne Williams, County Commissioner for El Paso County, and I support Scott McInnis for governor.
I'm Sally Clark, and I'm a county commissioner here in El Paso County. I'm also a small business owner, and I support Scott McInnis as our next governor of Colorado.